Welcome to ANZ Stadium. The pinnacle of eSports Rugby League is about to get underway. The Rabbitohs dominant over the Seagulls in Season 1. Then at the start of Season 2, coming back to beat the Seagulls in last season's grand final, and then being unbeaten through Season 3. The Seagulls set to start a dynasty here tonight. Joining me in the commentary box for the Season 3 SRL Grand Final, it's Jack O'Neill and Lachlan Martin as we hear the national anthem start to play. Boys, we are in for a big game tonight. What are our predictions?
Yeah, I said it during the week. I said Manly are certainties. I don't think that any team can run them down this season. But South Sydney, there'll be a lot of, excitement and a lot of determination to get them back after they've had a real good dominant run against them in the past few months. I think this is going to be one of the clashes of the season for sure.
Yeah, well, both the Rabbitohs and the Seagulls, they love attacking footy. Going to be an interesting game. You know, for Manly Seagulls, you'd expect them to win. They have both they're leading both attack, defence. They're leading all the areas. But I don't know, I've got a feeling tonight. Rabbitohs going to cause something.
The game is on the line. It's underway. It's the Manly Seagulls who kicked off through their wonder kid, Will Kay. And it's the Rabbitohs with their hands on the ball for this opening set. And they've got over the halfway line and only the second or third tackle. So a good opening set for South Sydney. Dry conditions here in Sydney for this grand final. The third SRL grand final. Obviously the first being won by Parramatta. The second won by the Seagulls against the Rabbitohs in Season 2. So I guess the Rabbitohs will be looking for a better start compared to Season 2, Jack.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it was a really odd grand final, the Season 2 grand final. You look at the scoreline and it was a very high scoring one. I think Manly just ambushed South Sydney from the get-go, but you watch the start of that game, you saw Logan Guys make an early break. So I think that South Sydney, they're going to try and ambush Manly early on and try and do to Manly what they did to them last season.
Big run from Allison, finds Matthew Harris, and the Rabbitohs have given away a penalty. And they've elected to go for the sideline rather than taking the two from out in front. So early signs here from Manly as they want to try and put the Seagulls under pressure. So Sadler will restart around about 12 metres out. Harris will set it just to the right of the uprights. The Seagulls will stay right. They go to Kay. The superstar 5'8", sets it around about 5 metres out. Sadler comes left through the hands of Oldfield, finds Butterfield, but it's the Rabbitohs defence who come up on him. It was Isaac Edwards making the tackle. Still inside the Rabbitohs 10, Oldfield, pass to Kay. Still Rabbitohs, the Seagulls, using their small players so close to the line. They go right, Sadler to Daniel, punch, close to the line. Referee calls held, final tackle. They go to Kay, short ball to Matthew Harris, but the referee's called it back. Big call by referee Rasmussen. I'm not sure what that was for. Jack, did you see it?
Yeah, look, I've just got the replay up now. I believe that he attempted to kick the ball and dropped it, and before the ball hit the ground, it was picked up by another Manly player. So I assume that it's been ruled a forward pass.
Forward pass.
I won.
Didn't quite see it from up here in the commentary box. I don't know about you, Lachlan. It's quite loud up here. I can only imagine what it's like down on the sideline. The crowd sounds deafening at the moment.
Yeah, it's a massive roar. Both teams are, sending out there. They don't like each other. It's amazing atmosphere. It's absolutely incredible.
One penalty apiece as the Rabbitohs give away their first Manly give away their first penalty of the game. Restarted on the halfway line as Logan Guys up into the Manly defence. Rabbitohs, as I mentioned earlier to Jack, they got off to a rather shell-shocked start in the Season 2 grand final. It was Manly who came out of the blocks with a hiss and a roar. And no doubt that would have been the talk before the game started from captain Jai Collins, as they have to concentrate defensively, and if they do that, the points will eventually come.
Yeah, I think it might have been a bit almost disrespectful from Manly to take the 2 points there. I think they sort of just expected South Sydney's defence to fold, but they showed a lot of resilience on their line in that set. So,
Good tap back from Mendonca and back to Liam Ryan. Ryan can't get away from the Seagulls' defence. There was no real way through. It was many Manly defenders around. It would have been hard yards for Ryan to get through, but nevertheless the Seagulls back with their hands on the ball. Both teams have had good ball control in the opening 8 or so minutes of this game. Chaz Dingo, his first touch of the game, taken down, a good tackle by Isaac Edwards. The Seagulls still trying to get their way out of their half as Will Kay threw the ball just as he came into contact, and the ball drifted forward into the hands of one of the South Sydney players. So the Rabbitohs with the first real attacking opportunity, their first real attacking opportunity of the game, and they've got another penalty. Referee Perenara gives a warning to the Seagulls in the opening 9 minutes, and Jai Collins has chosen to go for the 2.
Well, you watched the game last week between the Rabbitohs and the Cowboys, and they were really lenient, the referees, with holding down. I think there were about only 2 penalties given that whole game, and there were definitely some instances where I thought the penalty could have been blown, but tonight so far they've already blown I think 3 or 4 penalties. So an interesting start to the game for sure. South Sydney, they take the first points.
Yep, 2 penalties for the Rabbitohs, 1 for Manly. Not every day we see 3 penalties in the opening 10 minutes, is it? And obviously the referees referees obviously just trying to set the standards early. They understand, the collision aspect of this game and the tensions that could arise from it. It could reach boiling point if, standards aren't set early in the game. But back underway, a penalty to the Rabbitohs has them open the scoring here at ANZ Stadium. Live on SRL TV. What a season it's been, Jack and Lachlan. 7 weeks of competition with a Origin series sandwiched in the middle of it. And you guys have...
Yeah, by far the best season.
Most enjoyable season for you, Jack, was it?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay in my headset, but yeah, I think it's honestly been the best season we've had by far. I think the footy's been closer and better. We've seen the defence has been the big stay for me. I think it's really improved as Tyrone Clay rather slips over as he takes that ball, so South Sydney are going to be on the attack. But yeah, I think it's definitely been a much defensively orientated season. We've seen the more danger men at the back be shut down a little bit more, which has made for more exciting footy. So I think it's been really good so far. Lockie, what are your thoughts on the season?
Yeah, I think this has been an absolutely incredible season. Obviously, not the greatest for myself, but I've seen some wicked attacking footy this season. Some great plays there. I think the 2 best teams have ended up at the grand final. We'll have to see which one takes it.
Rabbitohs on attack. They have had all the possession and all the territory so far in this grand final as Crutcher goes short to Logan Guys. Has had a good season so far, the former Warrior, but he's been held up in the in goal there. The Rabbitohs still with a couple of tackles remaining. Edwards will set it around about 4 metres out, 15 from that far touchline. They go to Liam Ryan. He'll be hard to stop. Liam Ryan in the grand final. It was Dingo who came around the ankles at the last second and forced him around onto his back. So Manly holding on by the skin of their teeth at the moment. 1 tackle remaining.
Yeah, the bunker will definitely help there. It'll slow down the play, let them reset the defence.
So they'll go there from O'Hare to Edwards. Tries to put the kick in. Same mistake that Will Kay made down the other end of the field. The Seagulls defence just coming in on Edwards and putting too much pressure on him, and he's unable to get the ball down to the foot fast enough. So
yeah, well, we've talked about all season. Sorry to cut you off there. We've talked about all season the errors from these Souths halves. We know that in order to sort of unsettle these Souths halves, they have to put pressure on them, and then we've done that well so far tonight.
Tell you what though, Manly definitely seem to be feeling the jitters at the moment. They've struggled to get out of their own half the last sort of 7 or 8 minutes or so. Couple of errors, couple of penalties, allowing the Rabbitohs to piggyback down to the Manly end of the field. They'll just wanted to get to the end of the set, get to their kick. As Goodwin will play the ball rather slowly, the big prop feeling the effects of a lot of defence in the opening 15 minutes. Butterfield to the wing of Collins. Has played well on the left for South Sydney this season. 3 tries to his name. And continues to grow and develop as the South Sydney captain. Rife finds Ryan on the inside. Up to the halfway line. He struggles in the tackle. Manly having to force to apply 3 tacklers to Liam Ryan. They go Dranigan this time. Always a hard runner up into the defensive line. Makes an extra couple of metres with a powerful leg drive as well. Edwards will kick on the 5th down to Malachi Booth on the wing, who does a good return as well. The young rookie. He's not so small. He's got large strides. Ryan's coming across. He'll do well to hold on, but a great tackle by the veteran fullback takes down big Malachi Booth. But the Sea Eagles, with that run, are hard on attack, and the Rabbitohs this time have given away a penalty, and they will go for 2 this time. So a professional foul you could have asked. Rabbitohs very lucky to get away with that one.
For sure. I'm looking at the play right now. I think that Matthew Harris is talking to, I think that's referee Rasmussen. He's questioning why there was not a sin bin there. I think that was a pretty clear-cut sin bin. But, you know, what I was going to say during that play was that that's a game changer right there, that run from Malachi Booth. I thought for sure they were going to score, which is why I think they should have used the sin bin.
A lot of debate during the week about the positional decisions from Matthew Harris, and for Manly for this grand final, Malachi Booth obviously starting on that left wing in place of Kane Chapman-Kenny, who finds himself in the centres. And, you know, we'll wait and see what happens at half-time, but one would assume that Kane Chapman-Kenny would either move to the wing or to the fullback position. If he moves to the wing, obviously it will probably be the Malachi Booth's wing. But if he moves to fullback, that would mean that Chaz Dingo would go into the centres. And so I don't know where Kane's best position would be in the second half, but I would say fullback. There's got to be an option.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit. If Kane Chapman-Kenny takes that ball on the left wing instead of Malachi Booth, does he run the length of the field? We know how fast he is. You know, it's an interesting one. Lockie, what are your thoughts? Where do you think that Kane best fits in the second half?
Oh, look, I think he could play a number of positions. I wouldn't be surprised to potentially see him play a little bit of a Bunty Cambola role, maybe come on in the second row in the second half. We know how damaging those players can be. But I certainly wouldn't be putting him at centre since that fullback story, as that would mean that Chaz Dingo will probably have to go into the centres. I think he's too dangerous to have in the centres.
That was a big play from the Manly kicker.
Josh Butterfield putting it high, and
Joshua Butterfield.
Liam Ryan unable to get out from his own in goal, and the Manly Seagulls will get another set. They should be deep inside South Sydney's half at the end of it. Bennett charges it forward, starting in the second row. No doubt will be moved to the front row in the second half, as happens in almost every game. Inside the Rabbitohs 20 they go. No tries in the opening quarter of the game. Still 2-2. A penalty to either side. Bennett will play the ball. Tackle 4 for Manly. They go through the hands to Kay. Dingo's on the end of it. He will be hard to stop, Chaz Dingo. But it's Mason Remy who does a good job and twists and turns him and forces him onto his back.
Great defence from South Sydney. Manly putting together one of those good block plays that they love to throw at oppositions, and it looked dangerous. But great defence on Chaz Dingo. But the Manly Seagulls, they've got one more play.
Putting it high is Kay, but no real chases from the Seagulls. Ryan takes it under no real pressure. So 20 minutes gone, or 21, almost 22 minutes gone here at ANZ Stadium as Cameron Relentless is on the park. And still no score in the grand final. We said earlier on that the Rabbitohs have to contain Manly. But as we've seen so far this season, Manly's strength has been wearing down teams through that full 80 minutes. And so, meanwhile, while the Rabbitohs know they need to contain Manly, they know they need to score points as well, as Isaac Edwards finds a 40-20. He has done it so many times this season, and he pulls it out once again at the right time. He'll play the ball 5 out. O'Hare to Crutcher. 2 out from the goal line, right out in front of the post. They come right side. Dranigan to Ryan. Jackson Cutler on the cutback. Taken down just a couple of metres short. He'll step back into the in goal. Mendonca at dummy half. Dranigan gets called held. Referee says he's held up. He's not wrong there. Didn't even get down. 2 tackles remaining. O'Hare. Crutcher takes it to the line and goes flat to Tellis Rife. He'll play the ball. Final tackle. Edwards in the pocket. They go back to him. He'll put it high out to the wing of Mendonca and Cutler. Edwards knocks it back to Liam Ryan once again. But the Sea Eagles defence closes in on Ryan, and there's no way through for the Rabbitohs fullback.
Yeah, I want to give a massive rap to the set before, not to Isaac Edwards, who did execute a beautiful kick, but to Cameron Relentless. He took 2 runs where he got quick play the balls and made huge meters that got South into the position for that kick. Manly, they were starting to poke holes in South's defence. The South was starting to look a little bit fatigued after a big first 20 minutes, but Cameron Relentless makes a huge impact.
Probably one player that doesn't get a lot of credit. And, you know, he's not the biggest prop forward in the game. In fact, I think he's the smallest player in the game. And I think because of that, he doesn't get a lot of credit, you know, where it's worth and where it's due. But you're right, Jack, those two quick play the balls, obviously fresh legs off the bench, really helped to unsettle the back 3 for Manly, and they were caught out with that big Isaac Edwards boot.
Yeah, and you talk about Cameron Relentless being so small, but he's come on and he's just given it to the Manly forward pack, which is by far and away the best in the competition. I believe he's headed to Penrith next season, Lockie?
Yeah, he's heading to Penrith next season. I'm really looking forward to see how he goes in our sheds. You know, he does have a quick play the ball, one of the quickest in the comp, I'd argue. He's just such a good young player.
This will be interesting as Clay gets away. Ryan in charge of having to run down one of the Manly wingers once again. It was a kick from Isaac Edwards that just sort of went across field, and none of the Sea Eagles defence sort of came up staggered, as the Sea Eagles have a big opportunity here, and they've made their way into the South Sydney line. Only tackle 3, 2 metres out. They go short side. Sadler, they find Booth, but a big tackle on Malachi Booth from it looks like Aaron O'Hare. Still tackles remaining though. Butterfield will play it. Pushed back to around about 6 metres. Final one here. It's a slow play the ball. Sadler to Harris. He'll put it high as Dingo charges forward, and he slams it down under the posts. Chaz Dingo opens the scoring. The first try in the grand final.
Is that the straw that breaks the camel's back? The defence from South Sydney was beautiful, but they finally crack through Chaz Dingo, one of the out-and-out superstars of the SRL. And I wonder if the floodgates are going to open now. The South Sydney defence, you know, they've been leaking some easy meters at times in yardage, but their goal line defence has been simply incredible. Give a big rap to Liam Ryan. His defence has been nothing short of amazing. He's made 2 big tackles on some pretty hard men to stop in Malachi Booth and Tyrone Clay. But Manly, they finally find first points through Chaz Dingo, and I think the floodgates might start opening soon.
Yeah, it's a good try there, but it was like guarantee for Rabbitohs that were disappointed there. You know, their defense, both teams' goal line defense has been absolutely incredible. I want to give some raps to the left-hand defense, I believe it is, of Malachi Booth and Casey Kay. They've made a couple massive tackles on Liam Ryan, and the rewards have finally come with Chaz Dingo scoring the opening try.
Yeah, no real Rabbitohs defence on Chaz Dingo. He was just allowed to come through and just stand underneath that goalpost. So that'll be disappointing for Jai Collins and that South Sydney coaching unit as they see the score. 8-2 here after that try to Chaz Dingo. Chapman Kenny through the line. And Chapman Kenny is just too fast. He breaks through the tall, ranging centre. And the Seagulls go back to back. You said, Jack, the floodgates could be opening. I think it's still a little early to call that, but 2 tries. Well, things are starting to look hard here for South Sydney.
Call me Mystic Jack because I predict these things. What a beautiful run from Kane Chapman Kenny. And you know, I alluded to his speed when Malachi Booth made that run and got ran down. How electric and how exhilarating is it to watch that man, Kane Chapman Kenny, into space?
Yeah, man, they've got a lot of criticism with that move to play Kane Chapman Kenny in the centres in the grand final. But he's just made a massive play there. I don't know if he's touched it all day, Chapman Kenny, but potentially his first touch is a good big one, and he scores another try. What a player.
So 14-2 here at ANZ Stadium. It's the Season 3 SRL Grand Final. ANZ Stadium. It's the Seagulls with a healthy lead at the moment after we went through the first 25 or so minutes with just the penalty goal to each side. A try to Chaz Dingo, then another to Kane Chapman Kenny has made a 12-point lead to Manly. Around about 7.5 minutes until half-time. And the Rabbitohs have had their chances in this first 40 minutes, especially, as you mentioned, Lachlan, on this near side with Liam Ryan getting those tap-backs from both Mendonca and Edwards. But he hasn't been able to capitalise, and it's been these big players of Malachi Booth and Kane Chapman Kenny who have been linking up well on this left edge for the Seagulls and appear to be breaking apart this usually unbreakable South Sydney defence. Cutler takes it from the kick. It's South Sydney with their hands on the ball. Ryan looks to try and get a bit of go for, just short of the Rabbitohs 40. He plays the ball, relentless. Came out and had a good opening 15 or so minutes. There's Ryan. Goes round the first defender once again. Manly player running through the attacking line there. A couple of Seagulls players complaining, asking for the penalty. Edwards will play it. Final tackle. They go back to Dranigan to kick. Not the best of kick either, so things just aren't going the way of South Sydney at the moment. And they've got about 5 minutes till half time. They can't afford to concede any more tries in this opening 40.
This is South's time to show their mentality and to show what this football side is made out of. Had a lot of things go their way early in this game. They worked hard, but they've leaked 2 tries. They need to show their fans and the rugby league community what they're made of, because right now they're starting to be walked over by the Premiers.
35 metres out, the Seagulls continuing to make easy metres up through the middle. It's the captain, Matthew Harris, playing it around about 26 out. They find Alex Chapman on the inside, runs a good line into the tackle of Aaron O'Hare. Sadler to kick on the 5th is Kay, and it doesn't get the timing well at all. Edwards sort of half charges it down and manages to hold on to it. So the Seagulls the Rabbitohs possibly one remaining set, which is this one. Needing a good kick on the end of it to force something out of the Seagulls. They haven't really allowed the Rabbitohs to get on top of this game, apart from maybe a 10-minute period in that first quarter of the game. It's been all the Seagulls in this first half. So they go across the clay. That will probably be the South Sydney's final touch of the first half. unless they get a kick return. Sadler takes it forward. They're on the 40 here, 10 short of the halfway line. The Seagulls stay short side through Kay. Had Clay on his outside, decided to take the tackle, which is probably a good decision. That's Oldfield charging it forward. Rabbitohs will get a kick return as Sadler darts from dummy half, but good defence on him from Isaac Edwards. So a kick return here. Surely you go to Jai Collins as they go to Jackson Cutler. Hits around the first tackle. One player we haven't talked about much is Jason Laumu. Have barely seen him in this game. And Donker will play the ball. We're coming to halftime. We will have a halftime analysis after the short interchange break, but that is the halftime. It's 14 points to 2 in the grand final. We'll be back soon.
George is driving. He's too wasted. I should say something, but I could look dumb in front of Monique. Bro, Monique says you're dumb, but if he crashes, I'll have to live with his family.
Puzzle time.
And if he dies, Ghost George will haunt me forever.
Grab a chip. Want a chip?
You know I can't grab your ghost chips.
Go away.
Spoon.
Spacehead. Bro, Willie, what are you doing, bro?
Oh, I've been internalizing a really complicated situation in my head.
What are you on about?
I don't think you should drive.
Nah.
Nah, you're too drunk, bro. Just crash here.
Yes, crash here. Okay.
Stop a mate from driving drunk. Legend.
Half time here at ANZ Stadium in the Season 3 SRL Grand Final. It's the defending premiers, 14 points to 2 up at the moment. Tries to Kane, Chapman, Kenny and Chaz Dingo late in the first half after what was a pretty good defensive effort from both sides, but it just fell apart in that last sort of 15 minutes for the Rabbitohs. But there's still 40 minutes of footy in front of us. But Jack and Lachlan, what do the Rabbitohs need to do to get back into this contest?
Yeah, it's been a bizarre first half in the sense that, you know, it looked like it was going to be such an even contest. The defence from both sides was so good. I thought it was going to be so low scoring. Didn't go scores, and, you know, you're looking at the body language of South Sydney and you're starting to get a bit concerned. And then from there, Chapman Kenny caught them napping as well. They've just got to get back to basics, get back in the grind, and they've got to find energy in their defence because Manly have found a lot of cheap meters in and around the forwards. I think the forwards really need to step up, and I think that's the message that Jai Collins is going to convey in the halftime sheds.
And Lachlan,
Yeah.
I mean, you've dealt with a lot of these players, you've played against a lot of them. You know the skills that, you know, this South Sydney side is jam-packed with representative players. You know, we do know who they're up against, but how do they get back into this contest and start to put a bit of pressure on the Seagulls?
I think it's going to be through all the kicking. The games that have played well in has been through Isaac Edwards and Ash Crutcher just booting it downfield. I think that's how we're going to get back into the game. I think they also need some of their forwards need to step up, make some more meters. We saw Relentless do that very well in the first half. He's off the field. I'm looking at maybe like a Rex Slattery or a Logan Guys that just take a lot of good runs, just charge. You have to stand up to this Manly forward pack.
You mentioned the forwards, Lockie. I think, the guy that gets a lot of raps from the South Sydney leadership group in Drake Dranigan, I think we could see a bit more of him. One thing that I think they're trying to use him a bit too much as a ball player. I think that he's a strict line runner. I think he makes good meters off of the back. I think he comes off the back fence really well. I think he's one guy that they really should get the ball to try and get them into good yardage.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I think Drake Dranigan, just give him the ball and he'll just run hard. I don't think he's a ball player. They're trying to make him a ball player when he's not. I think he's a guy that just gets the ball and just charges at the opposition.
Okay, so 40 minutes of footy in front of us for Season 3 in the SRL. It's the Seagulls, the defending premiers, who are looking to go back-to-back in the SRL, leading at half-time, 14 points to 2. We'll go to a short break and we'll be straight back with second half action. Welcome back to ANZ Stadium here in Sydney for this grand final fixture between the Manly Seagulls and the South Sydney Rabbitohs, a repeat of the Season 2 grand final, but it's Manly in front at the moment. Liam Ryan gets the second half underway and 40 minutes ahead of us for one of these two teams. It will be absolute jubilation. And for the other, it will be an end of a game that will bring a lot of emotion in the opposite end of the spectrum. Manly with their hands on the ball for the start of the second half. They will be looking to get to the end of their set, as they always look to do, just play sensible footy in the opening 10 or 15 minutes of this first half. Just as I say that, Will Kay tries a sort of wonder kick and it hasn't come off. In fact, Tyler Clay has been forced over the sideline. I think it was a predetermined kick from Will Kay, trying to catch Jai Collins on that wing, napping, but it hasn't turned out. In fact, Clay has been forced over the sideline, so early territory for the Rabbitohs in the second half. It'll be Alay to feed the scrum, has come on for Ash Crutcher at half time. We'll go over a few of those changes. Looks like Dawson Swarm has come on for the Rabbitohs as well. Looks like he's come on for Jackson Cutler. Meanwhile, for the Seagulls, couple of changes. Kyle Lewis on for Bo Sadler. Joshua Blackburn on for Daniel Punch. And Kane Chapman-Kenny has been moved to fullback. So Chaz Dingo in the centres. We talked about it in the first half. And Chapman-Kenny has gone to fullback. As Guys charges through the middle. Good start here for South Sydney. They're inside Manly's 10. They have to be the first to score, you'd have to say, as Edwards puts it high. It's a good kick as well for Jai Collins. He came through, went shoulder to shoulder with Maverick Oldfield. But Oldfield comes away with it, and the Manly Seagulls defend well once again.
Yeah, it was a great take from Maverick Oldfield. You know, Jai Collins, he of course threw his former teammate Tyler Clay over the sideline earlier in just a couple of minutes ago, actually. And I've been noticing on that left and right edge, respectively, they've been chirping a lot at each other. Lachlan, is there a bit of talk going on out there?
Yeah, just a bit of banter, I think you'd say. Just a couple non-family friendly words going out there. It's good to see, though.
Rabbitohs just really needing to find some sort of spark to break the Seagulls line open. Collins to return from the kick, but Manly's defence has been unwavering this season. The best defensive team in the competition. As I say that, I mean, the Rabbitohs have been one of the most consistent teams in the SRL over the past 3 seasons. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a low-scoring game.
Wow.
As we see a mistake there from South Sydney. Lewis comes away with it. So, Rabbitohs got an early opportunity from a Seagulls mistake. Tables have been turned now as the Rabbitohs throw the ball away. The Seagulls with good territory, just moving inside the South Sydney 20 is Allison. And Butterfield finds Blackburn. He juggles it for a moment. Manages to hold on to it. 12 out now. Kay. Flat to Matthew Harris. He's been taken out without the ball. A big tackle on the Manly captain. Looks like it was Isaac Edwards as well. He not the biggest player on the field, but he has laid out the captain. And not for the first time this season, a player taken out without the ball.
Nah, I'm looking at it. It's play on. Let's go.
Let's go.
Good result from South Sydney. Good result for South Sydney. Obviously, they, have been under a bit of pressure. I think that should hopefully give them a bit of energy, given that that's Isaac Edwards, a little man, dropping a big man, and Liam Ryan exhibits some of that energy. I think Souths have just got to kick well. I think that's why O'Shea Olay has come on. I think maybe they want someone fresh doing a bit of kicking. Isaac Edwards needs to kick to corners, jam their wingers, and get them back in the grind, because right now they're giving away cheap meters like this. It's a high tackle too.
High tackle on Tyler Clay. Second high tackle of the game against Manly. Referee did give a warning in the opening 20 minutes of the game to both sides, but we're yet to see a card. But have to say, Lachlan, I don't think we are far away from the referee Rasmussen reaching into the pocket and sending someone to the sideline, but things could get heated if this continues.
Sorry, cut you off there.
Harris charges it forward into the 10 or the 15. There you go, the Seagulls looking to push the envelope and send it into almost an impossible task here for South Sydney as the pass drifts forward to Malachi Booth. The second try the Seagulls have been denied tonight, but they are just pulling this South Sydney defence apart at the moment, and they're just playing with them.
I think that's Jason Laumu's first touch of the game. I've barely seen him involved at all. He reminds me of one of those centres that camps on that edge, and you need to get him the footy and bring him into the game. And the South's halves have failed to do that. They've been really dominant down the right. They've really tried to move the ball to the right-hand side where Mendonca was playing in the first half. I think that Laumu, if they're going to win this game, if they're going to find points, Laumu is the guy. He's the man to get some footies. We've got an injury here.
I can't see who that is. It looks like... Is that Matthew Harris? Is it the Manly captain? Wow, the Manly captain has gone down. That is huge for the Seagulls. I mean, we'll have to wait and see how that affects their team. I mean, they've got plenty of players on the bench who can fill that role, but just as we say that, our South Sydney give away the ball, so they can't capitalise on that injury as Allison, who makes his way into the 10. The Manly Seagulls continue to pressure the South Sydney line as Kay takes it on. He's taken 2 out. Lewis at dummy half to Butterfield. Good tackle on him from Logan Guys. Slow play the ball. It's the 5th. They go right to Kay. On the toe! Chapman Kenny comes through and he takes it mid-air and dots down for a second.
Yeah, beautiful footy there. It was a well-executed kick from Will Kay. Lachlan, I'm getting messages at the moment. It's looking like a rotator cuff tear. I might get you to go down or to give us the news on on Matthew Harris, but What a beautiful kick from Will Kay. Straight into the chest of that man, Kane Chapman-Kenny, who has moved to the fullback, which is the fullback position, and that is a great result for Manly. They need this buffer considering that their captain is now on the sideline.
Big try to Kane Chapman-Kenny. He had a good first half in the centres. As Kay converts, 20 points to 2 here in the grand final. Things are going from bad to worse for the Rabbitohs, who came into this one looking to redeem from that Season 2 grand final, but they really are staring down the barrel. I mean, we have seen teams come back in the second half, but at the moment things are going in the opposite direction. As O'Shea will get the game back underway, sends it down to the Manly line, and Jesse Bennett brings it forward. But a good try to Kane Chapman-Kenny. It was Will Kay who set it up on a platter. He's had a good second half to the season. Will Kay was named as one of the best players in the SRL just the other night, and definitely was one of the best buys of the season. I think he was nominated up there with Damien Moana as one of the best buys in the off-season, but really has linked up well with Josh Butterfield. And as we see Allison break through the middle,
No way.
and the Sea Eagles score a 4th try, and this is just turning into a bit of a horror show.
Chapman-Kenny, straight down the middle. Beautiful run. His acceleration is causing all sorts of headaches for South Sydney. And then that huge, long rainbow ball out to Allison. It was taken just as the South Sydney defence collided with him. I think they were a bit in two minds of whether to go for the intercept or the big shot. In the end, they chose neither. Allison breaks straight through. And yeah, this is starting to look really bad, really grim for South Sydney as they're, this is a really big deficit to come back from. And I think they've got a lot of attacking strike out there, but Manly surely won't give this type of lead up.
4 converted tries is the margin. Lachlan is down on the sideline with the Manly physio. Matthew Harris, what is the prognosis down there?
Yeah, it seems like a rotor cuff tear does not look good for the Manly captain. He is not happy on the sideline. He's trying to get himself ready to get back out there, but unfortunately it seems unlikely with the Manly trainers and physios reluctant to let him go back on.
I'm surprised he's not happy. I mean, his side's up 26 points to 2 in a grand final. I'm sure he's just a little bit frustrated, probably from the injury, but a try there to Jackson Ellison, palming off a couple of defenders, and we haven't seen that since Season 1. Jackson Ellison running freely in open field and blowing off defenders left, right and centre, as the Manly Seagulls have given away the ball this time. But a good try to Jackson Ellison. The Seagulls leading 26 points to 2. A little over 20 minutes remaining as the Rabbitohs give it away again. Dingo's going to not be stopped. He'll run 60 metres, and the Sea Eagles score their 5th try. This is turning into an absolute calamity.
Yeah, there's not much to say really. They're just trying hard, the South Sydney players, trying to find something, tried a long ball. It was looking dangerous, but Chaz Dingo plucked it straight out of the air, and you'll never catch Chaz Dingo in space like that. He had too much of a head start. He is electrifying, and yeah, it's one of these games that as a former South man myself, I definitely was rooting for South Sydney, so it does hurt, but you've got to respect, Manly. You've got to respect I'll say it, I was reluctant. The dynasty that they have built over the past 2 seasons.
I agree, Jack. It's definitely feeling like the dynasty type of situation, can almost be discussed. The dirty D word here in the SRL. We haven't had one yet. A couple of teams have shown promise, but none have matched what Manly have put forth this season. Obviously a reminder as well, this also contributed back to Season 2. Must be around about 11 or 12 games on the trot here, and the Rabbitohs give away a penalty on tackle 1. So I don't know what is happening out there, Lachlan, but the Rabbitohs, South Sydney, I mean, Russell Crowe, he is almost asleep up in the grandstand there. He is, looks like he's not even watching this game anymore. I don't know what's happening. What changed at half-time?
I don't know. To be honest, I think the Manly Seagulls have just gone to another level in the second half. They're good in the first half, but now they've got that groove going on. They keep going. They're going to keep going from here, Manly. This could get ugly.
Good break from Chapman King. He's playing well at the centres. Blackburn, more metres off the bench for him. They're about 18 out here. Lewis playing the second half at dummy half. Goodwin just pumping the legs. Steals an extra 2 or 3 metres as well. They stay short side. They go to Kay. Blackburn almost getting away from the tackle of Drake Dranigan. They're about 3 metres out. Final tackle as Butterfield kicks it. Gets a regather, asking for a 6 again. But referee says no, wasn't played at.
Yeah, right call there.
I think that's the right call from there.
So 60 minutes gone here at ANZ Stadium. You're watching the Season 3 SRL Grand Final. 7 weeks of competition. 3 weeks of finals action as well. It has been a crazy 10 weeks of SRL action. Obviously, we mentioned Origin, that was sandwiched in the middle of it. But looking forward to Season 4. You know, a lot of changes across the board on all 8 sides. But you'd have to say some of these top 4 teams are looking really strong going forward. And Manly, you know, they've been tested left, right and centre. I know the Raiders put them to the sword, but were eventually run down. The Eels late in the season almost pipped them at the post. But they have been Mr. Consistent throughout the whole season, haven't they?
Yeah, and you know, it's a weird one because we've never really seen them get a second gear. Most of their games this season have been very, very close, but tonight they've just gone to another level. They're just playing such high-paced football, and I think that is something to do with that week off. You know, we haven't really spoke about how big of an impact that would have been for them just to have a week to recharge. It's been a big, grueling season for every team, whereas South Sydney, they had the game of their season. I think they played their grand final last week in that game against the North Queensland Cowboys.
Funny how we say that, eh? The Rabbitohs beating the Broncos in week 1, then beating the Cowboys in that preliminary final. But they definitely do like they have had the wind blowing out of them. They were one of those sides who actually did put up a good fight against the Seagulls back in round robin play. They went down 24 points to 10, but you know, for much of that game they were in it. At 32 points to 2, counting down, 15 minutes remaining here in Sydney. Daniel Punch will play the ball. They're just outside the 30, or just inside the 30, I should say. Around about 7 or 8 metres in from that far touchline as Malachi Booth plays the ball. He's been a player, he played well in that first half, Jack. Malachi Booth made some good breaks up that left-hand edge. A little bit quiet in the second half, but overall it's been a good season for the big fella. And been a revelation for the Seagulls on that wing.
Yeah, huge raps to Malachi Booth. You know, that first half, I think he really helped tire out Manly in the sense he made some big breaks, made them have to backpedal, you know, move the forwards around a little bit in and around the middle of the field. But, you know, Malachi was pretty, I wouldn't say underwhelming because there was never really an expectation on him, but he wasn't performing to the highest of standard for, I'd say, the first 4 or so weeks of competition. But in the back end, he has just exploded. He's looking really, really good. And he's looking like a star of the future for sure.
Now the Rabbitohs do get an opportunity late in the set. They're about 12 out. Final tackle as it goes back to Dranigan, but it looks as though it was Thomas Mendonca just got in front of the play the ball And it hit him on the chest. Referee says it did touch a part of the arm. And they give away possession. Just silly moments in the game. I mean, that first 20 minutes of the second half, just defensively, the Rabbitohs went to sleep. But throughout the whole game, they have given away penalties. They've given away intercept passes. And it just feels like they haven't been up to the task here tonight. The Seagulls, you said we haven't seen much of them out of second gear. Well, definitely feels like the second half they've shifted into fifth gear and they are cruising at the moment.
Yeah, we've got to give them raps. You know, Lockie, obviously, I have a lot more to do with South Sydney, as that kick was a very dangerous one, but Liam Ryan did well with it.
Great defence, though. You look at that defence from Kane Chapman-Kenny just there on Liam Ryan. You know, defensively, Manly, just all over the Seagulls, South Sydney.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like this dynasty that they've built. I'll say the D word again, but they just work hard no matter what the scoreline is. They never panic. They just stick to their systems. I've said that all year too. They're just relentless, and it's so good to watch. And they play such an exciting brand of footy as well. Lachlan, you've obviously got a lot to do with the Manly boys. I'm definitely a bit more South Sydney orientated. But, there's just something about them. They're just their drive and just the way that they get their side up each week is something that we really need to give raps to, and that words can't do justice to how good they've been.
Yeah, look, I've got a bit to do with these boys when it came to the state
that's
of
a
origin.
huge tackle. Sorry to interrupt you there, but that ankle tap, that's Scott Sattler-esque. Of course, the scoreline's a little bit different, but that is something else. Have a look at this. Might get a good look at it here on the replay. I'm not sure which player it was that came up with that play, but wow.
Yeah, look, that's good to see. Rabbitohs, they can't win the game from here, but just give your fans a little bit of something to remember from the grand final. Just something.
As Olay feeds the scrum. Ryan breaks through the middle. Can South Sydney finish the game on a high? They've got ball inside Manly's 20. Guys has played well. He's ran hard all evening. He's ran hard all season, in fact. Probably their top performing forward. They go to Crutcher. Ash back on for his second stint. Playing in the second row. He'll be held up over the line. Still 4 tackles remaining. Rabbitohs will take it back to the 10 for the restart. Jason Laumu, have barely seen Jason Laumu. That's been disappointing for me. One of the most destructive players in the competition, named in the team of the year just last night, and we've barely seen Laumu as Mendonca comes to Edwards. Thomas Mendonca, his final game for South Sydney after 3 seasons here. O'Hare to Laumu. He puts it up. Not a bad kick either. Comes down for Thomas Mendonca. Over the line, hasn't scored since season 1, but the Seagulls defence drag him back into the field of play, and he still can't break the drought.
Yeah, that's such a good play there by Manly. There's no reason to make that tackle. The game's won, but they're making it for pride. You can tell Manly really want to keep Rabbitohs to 2.2 without a try in this grand final. What an effort there.
I mean, the Rabbitohs scored in the opening 6 or 7 minutes of the game with that penalty to Ash Crutcher. So you could even debate that it's been 32-0. It's been an absolute whitewash. In reality, it has been a whitewash, but, that 2 points scored in those opening first few minutes is completely irrelevant now, as the Seagulls will look to kick from Kay down to the captain of Collins. He'll look to return as best he can. Makes a couple of metres, taken down 35 out from South's line. But with 5 minutes remaining here at ANZ Stadium, it's Manly who look to be going back to back after a high-scoring Season 2 grand final, where the Seagulls came out and scored an early 20 points. The Rabbitohs came back. And then the Seagulls scored another 20 in the second half. It was a 40-odd points to 20 win in that Season 2 grand final. Another era there for South Sydney. It's been the story of their game. And if Manly can put more points on the board, they'll just send this game. And South Sydney, well, they'll have to just flush the dunny and move on. Half season really can't come fast enough at the moment. Allison has played well his final game for Manly here tonight. He will go out a champion. Butterfield on the toe. O'Hare does well to defend and regather. So Manly set to send their players with 2 rings in 2 seasons. An absolute dominant display over 7 weeks of competition. The new dynasty in the SRL, it's the Manly Sea Eagles setting the standards. Unbeaten through season 3. Haven't been beaten since round 5 of season 2. As they continue to go strength to strength and show the rest of the league the standards that must be upheld to be the best and be the player. It's been an utterly dominant and outperformed performance. What am I even saying? The Sea Eagles are going to be crowned SRL champions for season 3. Ben Punch charges it forward, still searching for tries. Goes to his brother Dan. A forward pass in the last 10 seconds, not the ideal end to the game. But it's the Sea Eagles who go back-to-back in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. The first team to do it after 80 minutes of footy. They take the win, 32 points to 2. The players come together. Absolute scenes of jubilation for Manly. Unbelief for the Rabbitohs, who would have come into this feeling like they had just as much opportunities as the Sea Eagles, but they've been outplayed here tonight, and the Sea Eagles are claimed Season 2 SRL champions. Sorry, Season 3. 32 points to 2. Jack, your word.
Yeah, I'm obviously really gutted for Souths. You know, I know how badly they wanted this, but Manly, they wanted it. They just wanted it more. It's as simple as that. Like, what they built, like, you know, like I said during the call, we can't put it into words just how phenomenal they've been all season. It's been a joy to watch them play. The commitment they've shown in defence, the clinical attacking footy that they play with, the way that they just control the game, and the way they never say die no matter what situation it is. None of these games came easy for them. They had to fight for every single victory, and every single victory they earned led them here, and they're now back-to-back premiers, and this is indeed a dynasty.
You know, Lachlan, you know, the Rabbitohs came into this. They'd had two weeks, good wins against the Broncos and the Cowboys. And, you know, defensively, they've got one of the best defensive teams over at least the last 2 seasons of the SRL. You know, let's not count season 1 where it was so long ago, but at least the last 2 seasons. I haven't seen the Rabbitohs lose by this much since ever. What happened?
I have no idea what happened here. The Rabbitohs, I just have no words. I'm not sure entirely what happened. You know, the Sea Eagles, maybe they're just great at the moment, the Sea Eagles. They just went to an absolutely another level tonight. You know, you had KCK, Chaz Dingo that scored doubles. Their go-to 2 players right there. Matt Harris got injured and the team to only lift the team even further. You know, the Rabbitohs, I think maybe you know, it's interesting because they've Manly made more errors, Manly missed more tackles, and they won by 30.
I mean, it's got to come down to that 10 or so minute period after that injury to Matthew Harris early in the second half, where the Sea Eagles ran in, you know, 3 quick tries, 1 to Chapman Kenny, 1 to Dingo, 1 to Allison. And, you know, you'd have to say that would have, you know, just, you know, the Rabbitohs would have just given up all hope after that, knowing they're down by 30 points with, you know, 20 minutes remaining. I mean, it just sort of blew the game wide open, didn't it?
Yeah, 100%. You know, Rabbitohs, I feel gutted for them. Losing 2 grand finals in a row would be absolutely stink. I feel for, you know, Collins, Liam Ryan, the guys that were there last season. Losing 2 grand finals in a row must suck.
For the Seagulls, Jackson Ellison ran the most metres. The big second rower prop ran for 181 metres for the game, and he hasn't had the best of seasons, possibly even the last 2 seasons, Jackson Ellison. But to bring out a performance like that in the grand final, it'll be something he'll be proud of, 181 metres for a front rower.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple of years for Jacko. Bit of very inconsistent, but you know, just this season he's been out of a champion team and he's come up with a huge performance and gotten his first ring after, you know, I guess you could say choking it at the Broncos in season 1. Obviously, he was really disappointed. Had to come the long way, but he's one of those guys that's just worked so hard to get to.
And look at that as well. 8 line breaks. 8 line breaks for a second rower prop. You know, that's unheard of. So, you know, great performance from Jackson Ellison. You know, looking down, the Malachi Booth had a good first half, a little bit quiet in the second half, but another good performance from him. Chapman, Kenny and Dingo obviously swapped at half time, but 8 line breaks between them. But just overall, some really good numbers, good meters there for the Seagulls. And assists-wise, you know, shared around the team as well. So just utterly dominant. And then we look at the Rabbitohs. 213 metres for Liam Ryan, another good performance from the fullback. Logan Guys, we talked about him on multiple occasions as being possibly the best performing second rower for the Rabbitohs this season. But I guess we'll have to watch this again to really understand maybe where it went wrong for the Rabbitohs. But yeah, this will definitely take a couple of days of analysing to get a better judge on it.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a couple of days of good spirits in the Manly camp too. Let's not forget, they're going to be having a great time. They deserve it. They've worked so hard. Like, you know, I think we can try and find an answer for it, but I think for me the simple answer is that Manly they were just too good. They've got too much class and they just manage the game better, and they just strangle you. They just strangle teams, and they get errors out of them that you don't usually throw. You look at the error count for South Sydney, it was very, very high. Yeah, I think that, man, it's just one of those games where it's just one of those teams. You know, I say it's just one of those teams. Like, you don't see many of them, but Manly are just, the last 2 seasons, their team has been nothing short of incredible, and they deserve all the raps in the world for what they've done.
I mean, look at those tackle numbers as well. Pretty low. You know, considering, you know, we're not used to seeing tackle numbers that low. I mean, does that give a reflection that maybe the Seagulls had a lot more possession compared to the Rabbitohs?
I think possession was pretty even. I think it was field position that was the big one, but I think Manly also just really spread the defence out. You know, that's one thing they do really well, is they make sure everybody's doing the hard yards so that nobody can. Oh yeah, sorry, I was looking at the South Sydney tackles. Oh no. Oops. Yeah, that's crazy. But again, you look at it, it's an even spread. It's not like one person has just taken incredible amounts of tackles. Like, they just spread it out so well that everybody gets everybody, I guess, there's not one man that's just doing all the tackles, whereas you see that at struggling clubs a lot. You know, good example is Brisbane, Pete Veretto. Pete Veretto always seems to top that tackle count because he just puts himself in that work, whereas I think Manly just always have that good attitude of everyone coming in and everyone doing the dirty work, which is why they've been so great.
Well, guys, that is the end of Season 3 in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. Has been quite the season after the extended break we had after Season 2. Jack and Lachlan, it's been a pleasure having you in the commentary box with me. It's been a big year, Do you guys want to have a final word?
Lockie, all to you, man. You go first.
You know, it's been an awesome season. Obviously, not the race for myself, but I think Manly have just absolutely, they've just floored everyone. They've absolutely just annihilated the competition. On to season 4 we go, and Manly, they're going to be hunted once more.
Yeah, look, I've just got one thing to say, really. You know, commiserations to South Sydney. Congratulations to Manly. You guys deserve it. You know, take your chocolates, enjoy it, bottle up this feeling. You must be so proud. But up the milk. We'll see you next year. We're all coming for you. We're coming for every single one of you. Every team is going to be back next season. It's going to be a huge season. And yeah, I'm so pumped for next season.
We'll see you then. Let's go on, Warriors.